Hi friends, it's Miss Amanda from the Allen County Public Library, and welcome to another summer reading program. Today we're going on a special adventure into the woods. In a lot of fairy tales and folklore, the main setting takes place in these wooded areas, and sometimes they can be perceived as being a bit scary. But today we have two special guests who are going to show you the pleasures of the forest. Brittany Fisher is the Executive Director at Dugas Community Park here in Scottsville, Kentucky, and she is joining Amanda Patrick. She's a local family therapist whose past job involved being in the woods a lot. So they have a lot of information to bring to you today. We're going to go on a virtual trail hunt, and we're going to try to identify different types of trees based on their characteristics, their leaves and their bark. They're also going to show you something pretty spectacular, and it has to do with fairies. Before we get to them, we're going to read a short book together called The Tree That's Meant to Be, and I really hope that you enjoy this story.
The Tree That's Meant to Be by Yuval Zommer. This book is dedicated to the forest. We would like to thank Doubleday Books for Young Readers for allowing us to read this to you virtually today. I am the tree that's meant to be. I started life as a tiny seed, but soon enough it was plain to see that I was never ever going to be a perfect grown-up tree. I branched a bit to the left, too much to the right, and didn't really focus on my height. While other trees grew poised and tall, I lagged behind, looking different, feeling small. Spring, summer, and autumn. Seasons came, stayed, and went. Then one harsh, cold winter night, the forest turned snowy white. The people came with measuring tapes and saws, searching for a flawless tree, a Christmas tree, to cut and take indoors. Soon, one by one, the other trees were gone. It was just me now. Alone, I shivered and shuddered. Is anyone there?" I stuttered into the night. But who would hear my cry? Who could speak the language of a tree and understand me? And then at dawn, foxes, deer, and birds, they had heard. Everyone brought berries, feathers, nuts, and flowers. They dressed me for hours and hours until I was a jolly, festive tree. Hello, hello, welcome squirrel, greetings bear, and laughter filled the air. My clearing rang with Christmas cheer. As darkness fell, a shooting star dropped down. It sank into my branches and shone so pure, so bright, that I became a tree of light. Among the creatures great and small, I felt loved, I felt tall. Seasons came, stayed, and went. I am no longer alone. This is my forest home. Through wind and rain, sun and snow, I grow, always here, evergreen. I am the tree that's meant to be. The end.
I hope you enjoy that story. There's a little bit of Christmas in it, but hey, Christmas in July, right? All right, so now it's time to meet Miss Amanda Patrick, and she's going to begin our virtual hike through the Dugas Community Trail with you. And I hope that she is able to teach you a few things about how to identify specific trees.
Good morning everyone, and welcome to Dugas Park. We are going to go on a bit of a virtual nature hike this morning. My name is Amanda Patrick, and I'm excited to be with you today. We're going to talk a little bit about trees. I've had a fantastic time in my career doing environmental education for the past 20 years, so I'm excited to spend a little time with you and share hopefully some new cool little nuggets of information. So this morning we are going to start with a tree that may have caused you to stop and go, what's going on with this tree in the past? In fact, this is what we call the hackberry. Now, you can often identify trees by one of two ways: leaves, or sometimes, especially in the winter, the bark or the trunk of the tree, okay? So one of the ways I know that I'm standing by a hackberry are all these really odd bumps and warts. Check those out. Again, when I go by and I see this, I'm like, hackberry. But what's special about the hackberry? Well, a few little tidbits. The wood of this tree is very strong. In fact, it's often resistant to strong winds and even air pollution. And it's pretty hardy as well. We find the hackberry all the way east of the Rockies in southern Canada, way down to Florida. Pretty big span of temperature and even rainfall. Another little factoid you may not know is the fruit of the hackberry. It's very attractive to birds, especially in the wintertime when foraging may be a little tougher. So you may find robins, cedar waxwings, even mockingbirds having a little feast on our friend the hackberry. And last but not least, one of the things that I think is cool is a little bit of time travel. Yes, in fact, if you were to go back in time and look at the floors of many a pioneer cabin, you might be surprised to see that strong wood of the hackberry making the floors of those cabins possible. Even hoop barrels, the hoops that go into barrels, those hoops made out of hackberry. It's flexible, but it's very strong and mighty. With the hackberry, let's take a look at the leaves as well. So the leaves of the hackberry are often shaped like a spear, typically 2 to 4 inches long. And it's not uncommon to also see them with these little, in fact, it is very common to see them with these little teeth about halfway down. They also alternate on either side, so they're not completely across from each other, they alternate. So about 2 to 4 inches long, see these little teeth, and they're spear shaped. That's one of the telltale signs for me, is size and also the shape, along with how they alternate on the limb.
Here, Amanda Patrick is showing you the leaves of the hackberry tree.
We're moving down the trail to our virtual tree hike, and what am I holding in my hand? All right, I'm gonna give you a few seconds to try to guess. Come up with your mind, what do you think it may be? All right, it is a red oak. Now, red oaks, while this may be green because we are in summer and it has fallen off the tree a bit, this will turn beautifully red in the fall. I love red oaks. Red oaks produce beautiful red leaves in the fall. Now, how do we know, though, these are red oak leaves? Well, we can know because they feature alternating leaves that are about 4 to 8 inches long. Okay, so we're alternating leaves about 4 to 8 inches long. They have about 7 to 11 little waxy spine tip lobes. So we can see those little, okay? Now, the cool part, any Ice Age movie fans out there? Anybody like Ice Age? Anybody like Scrat? Little squirrel with his acorn? Well, red oaks produce, they're not quite as big as Scrat's acorn, but they produce acorns that are round. They've got the little thick saucer-like caps that sit on top. They're about 1 inch. Not quite as big as Scrat's, but again, this produces those cool little acorns that squirrels love to munch on, that keep them happy and full in the fall and winter. So we looked at the leaves of the red oak, but what about the bark? What about this stuff? As I call it, the skin of the tree. It protects it. So this is a lovely red oak. Now, one of the cool things, I like to call it its superhero or superheroine power, is that it tends to grow pretty fast. It can grow as much as 2 feet. 2 feet a year. It's like, can you imagine growing? Well, some of you might grow that fast. I don't know. But I'm definitely not as tall as this tree. Now, a couple of cool things that I love about red oaks. One is they're pretty. I love the beautiful red leaves in the fall. So they're great to grow even along your driveway, in your front yard. Really cool trees. And they do well even in pollution, air pollution, and even when there's like tightly packed soil. So a lot of landscapers, people that plan out our cities and our towns, really like red oaks because they can grow well in town or out in the country, like this one's done here at Dugas Park. The other thing is they love sun. So I often say red oaks are working on their tan. They're loving the sun, right? So while you can't see the leaves, it's going way up tall so that the branches are totally hanging out in the sun.
We have a couple of maple trees leaves coming in there, but that's just letting you know how tall this guy is, or girl.
That's right. Good job. I mean, we're not nearly, Brittany, I don't know how many of us it would take to equal the height of this. Now, here's the other cool thing that you can consider when you're out looking at trees, and I hope this does inspire you to go out and do your own tree hikes. One of the best things I tell you is any good adventurer doesn't have all the answers, and that's okay. Brittany and I, we've actually been learning a lot about trees while we've been doing this, so don't ever feel like you got to have all the answers. Second is play detective. When Brittany and I were hanging out here today, I happened to pick up, a bit of a nut here. Somebody has sat and had a little snack. So I don't know about Brittany, we've seen a lot of squirrels out today too, so all kinds of really cool things that you can explore as you learn about trees out here in the forest.
Thanks, Amanda, for teaching us a little bit about the hackberry tree and the red oak. They're beautiful trees, aren't they? So now we're going to meet Brittany Fisher, and she's the executive director at Dugas Community Park. She's going to teach you a little bit about our state tree. Do you know what the state tree is? If you don't, you're fixing to.
I'm Brittany Fisher. I'm the executive director here at Dugas Community Park. We are in the Dumont Hill section. If you've already seen Amanda, then you know we're having lots of fun identifying trees and doing a virtual tree walk. Right now, we are standing next to what is Kentucky's state tree. This is known as the tulip poplar locally, but it's technically called the yellow poplar or the tulip tree. It's a very tall, long, straight trunk that's been used historically for log cabins, for boats. People in the indigenous Indians or Native Americans, they would dig them out and make solid canoes out of them. I've been to a museum and I've actually been able to see one of those canoes. They are really cool, something I myself could never do, but they look awesome, and who doesn't love to get out on the water from time to time? Something unique about the tulip poplar and why they are called the tulip poplar is because they have this little flower that comes out in, I think it's the springtime. And with that, it's orange near the base of the flower. It's shaped like a tulip. It goes from orange to a light yellow and then green at the top. But inside of the flower, it's got the pistil and the stamen, which are the parts of the flower that help for production of more trees. And what I used to do as a kid is I would get underneath the tulip poplar tree in our yard, and I would take those out and put them in a little bowl, and I would pretend with my dolls that we were eating spaghetti, because it looks like little tiny spaghetti noodles. I'm also going to let you take a look here at the leaf of the tulip poplar. There are several species of trees that have different shapes. They've got a little bug that's been munching on them. They are very large generally, and they're the size of your hand or larger as an adult even. And the sycamore tree and the tulip poplar tree both have those large leaves. But when there's a little bit of a difference here is this. This is one of the easiest ways to tell that it's a tulip poplar. It's got this V at the top, and it's got two prongs at the top instead of one. So that's one of the easy ways to tell them apart. And you may have noticed I kind of dropped them, but I'll pick these back up. I have a couple of boys myself and a farm. And so we like to do little things like tree identification when we actually get done working with the cows. So something that we've got, we do a pocket naturalist guide here. I'm not getting paid by Amazon or the publisher or anything like that. But this one, it's a handy pocket size one. So it folds out with different wildflowers and trees, and it's got what the tree shape looks like, what the leaves look like, and then if it does have a flower like the tulip poplar does, then it shows that in here too. And then we've got some other ones that are, it's a little tree finder one. It's another pocket size one. And it even on the back helps you out with your leaf size because it includes a ruler on there. But it's in black and white and green. So it helps you out a little bit with those tree shapes. And it's got kind of a question format, and it says, if the tree area looks like this, or if the bark looks like this, if the leaf shape looks like this, then you go through and select out those things. My favorite is, of course, the National Audubon Society book, but it's a little hefty and it's a little harder to use if you're not as familiar. So I'd save this one up for when you're a more experienced tree identifier. But these little 2 pocket guides, or any other pocket guides, you just kind of look at them beforehand and see what they look like and see if they'll work for you. But that's a good way to get started on your own after viewing our video. If you want to go out on your own tree hike, then you can start identifying and learning those trees.
So, some cool factoids, little facts, little nuggets of info about our friend, the tulip poplar, okay? One is, it's like a buffet for animals, right? Anybody here like to eat? What's your favorite food? Okay, probably not the tulip poplar, I'm not hearing. Okay, well, if you're a white-tailed deer, if you're a cardinal, if you're a little field mouse, even a hummingbird will sometimes come and have a little buffet dinner, like Brittany was talking about those real pretty leaves that she would use for spaghetti, which is way cool, Brittany. So even today I'm seeing little ants walking around. We've seen some squirrels out here. So again, tulip poplar, way cool if you're an animal. The other thing is, if we could get in a little time travel machine and go back, rumor is that Daniel Boone created a 60-foot, now I don't know if that's true, I wasn't there to see it, but according to our friends at the Arbor Day Foundation, didn't make this up, Daniel Boone created a 60-foot canoe. Wow, on tulip poplar. Now, here's my favorite part of the tree. Anybody here ever have a stressful day? Yeah, maybe your teacher, you and your teacher got into it, you and your parent got into it, maybe you failed a test, maybe somebody was just mean to you, right? One of my favorite things about nature is coming outdoors and how relaxing, right? Got a lot of shade here in this big open field, great for a nap, especially if I had a hammock, or even just the tree itself, right? Tulip poplars can grow really big and tall and stately. So why don't we practice doing a little bit of stretching, kind of release some of our tension, some of our anxiety, some of our not so feel good. So let's start out like we're little baby tulip poplars, okay? And we're gonna go and we're gonna come up really slow. And we're gonna take our little branches and our leaves and we're gonna stretch and we're gonna go really tall and stately. Now I'm gonna take a big deep breath in, draw in that sunlight, let it out. Just wiggle my leaves a little bit, real tall and stately, okay? Just stretch out. Feels pretty good, right? And it doesn't hurt that the birds are chirping, the sun's shining. Again, trees have a lot to teach us.
I hope you enjoyed this virtual nature hike today with Amanda and Brittany. We want to thank them for allowing us to have that hike with them virtually today. And I hope that you've learned ways that you can identify trees while you're on your own hike. And just so you know, we've got a few of those books that they've talked about. And you can check those out here at the library. And that way you will know how to identify trees on your own. Now, I think Miss Brittany has got a special treat for you. I think she's found something very peculiar on the trail. She may need your help to try to find them yourselves.
After doing the virtual tree hike with Miss Amanda Patrick this morning, I've been out this afternoon with my 2 boys, and we have stumbled upon what seems to be a fairy house village, and it is in our picnic area along the nature trail. I'm gonna take a little bit of a video of a couple of them, and then I'll send Miss Amanda with the library the pictures for the others so you all can look for them as well. I hope you all have happy hunting for the little fairy houses. Here's my 2 boys. They're done finding fairy houses. And there's another fairy house right over here, not too far away. This one looks like it's got a little door and some weird roofing shingles and bark. That fairy got a little creative. Well, we've got about 4 of those that we've seen out here, so if you all can, come out and hunt. You never know what you can find in the forest if you use your imagination.
There are 4 fairy houses on the trail at Dumont Hill. We would like for you to go on a hike with your family and see if you can find them. If you do, please take a picture and send it to our Facebook page, and this will help you earn the fairy tale badge for your summer reading lanyard. We can't wait to see you next week. Keep on imagining with us. Goodbye.